All right, so today we're diving into something really interesting. It's a text that tackles a huge question, one that's probably more relevant now than ever. In a world where we're just drowning in information, what's the real secret to finding genuine guidance?
So let's just get right to it. The central claim here is pretty wild. It says the secret of guidance is super simple. Just don't open your mouth. Silence. Yeah, I know. In a world where we're told to share everything, this idea of not speaking until you're truly authorized, it's radical. So you have to ask, right? What's the problem this silence is supposedly solving? Well, according to this text, we've been making a huge mistake for, the last 100 years. See, people got their hands on sacred texts, taught themselves how to read them, and then they started talking. They started teaching, all without any of the real training or authorization that used to be a non-negotiable. It's like they mistook having a library card for actually inheriting all the wisdom on the shelves. And here's the kicker. The text warns that with AI, this problem is about to go into overdrive.
So what's the result of all this unauthorized talking? It's simple. Noise. Just a constant barrage of noise. The text puts it perfectly. How are you supposed to find a clear signal when absolutely everyone is screaming into a megaphone?
Okay, so how do you cut through all that noise? The text gives us this incredible metaphor to completely flip how we think about this. It says the place to find real guidance isn't a gym, it's a hospital.
And what does that mean? It means the goal isn't about putting on a show or winning a debate on social media. No, the whole point of guidance, according to this, is healing. It's about quietly telling a doctor what's wrong, not loudly flexing your muscles for everyone to see.
And if you think about it, this comparison makes so much sense. You go to a gym to get stronger, right? You're lifting heavy, you're sweating, it's a public thing. But a hospital, that's about survival. It's about getting the right medicine, quietly, privately. The text says we run into huge problems when we get these two mixed up. When we start treating the hospital like a gym, self-prescribing our spiritual workouts and performing instead of healing, we actually end up hurting ourselves. This just nails the core idea, doesn't it? The environment matters. The approach matters. What's great for building muscle can be absolutely devastating for someone who's sick and just needs medicine. Okay, so if the environment is a hospital, what's the actual method? This leads us to another really crucial distinction the text draws out, the difference between just having knowledge and having what it calls illumination. And it frames this whole idea around the famous House of Wisdom. Now, the source is really careful to say that these two things aren't enemies. Not at all. They just play on different fields. You've got worldly knowledge, which is amazing. It builds empires, it creates technology, it sharpens our intellect. But spiritual guidance? That's a totally different ballgame. Its goal is to transform who you are on the inside, to open your heart. And the thing is, you can be a genius in one and a total beginner in the other. To make this point, the text shares this amazing story from the Islamic mystical tradition.
So there was this legendary teacher, Sheikh Abdul Qadir al-Jilani. And he had a son who was, by all accounts, a fantastic speaker, really eloquent, super polished. The son comes to him one day and says, "Hey, let me teach the lesson. I think I can do a better job." And the sheikh says, "Okay, go for it."
So the son gets up there and just crushes it. I mean, the lecture is flawless. Every fact is right. The delivery is perfect. But crickets. The students are just not feeling it. Afterwards, they go up to him very respectfully and say, "We want our teacher back." You can imagine the son is just baffled. He's thinking, what did I miss? I did everything right.
And the reason why it was so simple and so devastating. They just said, "our hearts." That's it. That one phrase gets to the absolute core of this whole argument. They were getting plenty of information for their heads, but zero illumination for their hearts. The words were technically perfect, but something vital, something essential just wasn't there.
You see, the son had all the knowledge, all the skill, but he was missing that illumination. And that's the key. The text argues this isn't something you can just learn from a book or perfect with speaking techniques. It's described as a spiritual presence, something that's passed down through an authentic chain, and you don't recognize it with your brain. You recognize it with your heart. Okay, so this whole idea, knowledge versus illumination, brings us to the next big metaphor in the text. If just having the information isn't enough, then what is? Well, it's the difference between owning a map and actually taking the trip. Think about it. You could have the most beautiful, high-definition, perfectly detailed map ever created. But guess what? Staring at it doesn't move you a single inch closer to your destination. Knowing the road isn't the same as walking it. And according to this text, the walking part? Yeah, that's mandatory.
And this really begs a question that I think a lot of us feel, right? Why is it that with all the books, all the podcasts, all the information in the world at our fingertips, so many of us still feel completely lost?
The text uses a perfect modern analogy for this, a spiritual GPS. The map, that's the knowledge, it shows you where you're supposed to end up. But the guide? The guide is the GPS. The guide is the one giving you turn-by-turn directions in real time, telling you to slow down here, or that you're about to take a wrong turn, or hey, you're about to drive right off a cliff. So you're on this journey, you've got a guide, but you're human. You're gonna mess up. You're gonna get lost. So what happens then? This is where the text ends, with this beautiful, merciful idea it calls the never-closing door.
The whole concept is built around the idea of tawbah, which basically means repentance. But the text frames it in a really powerful way. It's not about shame, it's not about guilt, it's not about collapsing and failure. It's just a reset button. It's the simple act of turning around and getting back on the path. Doesn't matter how far you've strayed or how many times you've done it.
And that, right there, is the ultimate mindset shift. This whole thing was never about being perfect. It was always about being persistent. You're not judged on whether you fall down. You're judged on whether you're willing to get back up and turn back, again and again and again.
And this is hammered home with such a powerful statement. The source says, look, as long as you keep turning back, the forgiveness won't stop, the love won't stop, and the guidance won't stop. It's a promise.
And then, in this great moment of self-awareness, the source kind of pulls the rug out. It basically says, by the way, everything you just read, this whole text, even this very discussion we're having right now, it's all just another map. It can point you in the right direction, it can tell you that guidance is real, but it can't be the guide for you. It can't walk the path for you.
Which brings us right back to where we started, with that hospital metaphor. The final takeaway here isn't to go out and learn more facts or to shout your opinions louder. No, the instruction is to walk into the hospital, lower your voice, and just be healed. Because in the end, according to this text, everything else is just noise.